My girlfriend is dead inside. Sorry for the long post, but I request you to read this once. Any help will be appreciated. Okay, so here we go. Never thought I'll ask Reddit, but nothing else seems to help. I am 21M and my girlfriend is also 21F. Been in relationship for 6 years. She was a very happy, genuine, honest person. Despite coming from a poor family, she was close to reaching all her goals, and not having enough funds or living in a small house didn't bother her at all. She used to make sure she utilized every opportunity in her life, and she was thankful to God for giving her a great family. Totally devoted towards her goals and career. And in September 2019, her mother passed away. I know she loved her mother and shared everything with her, but I didn't know losing her could bring this big of an impact on her life. At first it was hard, very hard for her. And I always tried to motivate her, listened to her, made her open up about what she was really feeling. All the days and nights she cried, I was with her, still holding her and motivating her in life. I always thought this will pass. But it didn't actually. Yeah. I mean, the situation is better than it was 2 years ago. But the more time I've spent with her over these 2 years, Corona lockdown made us very close since we are like neighbors, the more I've realized that she hasn't moved on, at all. And I don't blame her, at all. I can never imagine the feeling of my mom passing away. But I always thought it will pass, or at least she'll gain some inspiration to move forward. But it's been 2 years and I know deep down, it's all the same. There are other reasons too, like her father has changed a lot since mom passed. She doesn't like the idea of father getting a second marriage because she always thought there was true love between her parents. Her family has been ignoring her pretty much, and she's not on good terms with any of her family members. Her family members are greedy. All they want is my dead mother-in-law's land papers. So she cut him off. She doesn't like her college. She had many friends, but now her circle seems to be growing smaller and smaller every day. I sometimes imagine myself in place of her, and realize how fucking strong she is, still holding on, smiling every day. She says the only good thing in her life left is me. She just sometimes breaks down on my arms, and god damn it, I break down too. Although when I see her almost every day, she always smiles at me. We laugh and love, but I can see her pain, her agony, her misery, her wanting to be dead eyes, behind her laughter. I want to help her. I really do, willing to do anything it takes. But I seem helpless, like her. Sometimes, it just feels like, this void won't ever be filled. Maybe it's not meant to be filled. If you made it this far, then thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate it. Lost my mom in 2006. I was 22 at the time, so I was fairly young. Losing a parent is fucking rough, especially at a younger age. It makes it worse when you see other friends or family who still have their parents late into their lives. I know for me it felt like I was missing a large part of life and the living experience. Give it more time. Be there for her. She's not dead inside. She's just lost. I think you should give it more time. Honestly, the best you could do is being there for her. Therapy. Reddit won't help, but therapy has a way higher chance in doing so. Talk with her about getting help. Are there any psychology students that might give free therapy? We do this in Mexico, so maybe check up on that. Otherwise try YouTube and/or look for books that have to do with grief or helping someone who's in need. I can assure you there's many resources. Heart. Just hang in there, bro. She will take her own time to get over this. You can only be there for her, as best you can. Not much else you can do. You are a good person. Hey fellow Indian here. I've seen ads for many apps to help and cope with emotions. If it helps, you can try things like meditation and some activities together to help her distract her mind. Because honestly, the pandemic has really messed up a lot of things, and not being able to do much certainly doesn't help. So depending on your state and the COVID situation, please look into some online therapy apps and activities you both can do together. I hope she gets better and knows that her mother isn't truly gone. She lives on through your girlfriend's memories. Best of luck, heart. Therapy. She needs therapy. Try to get her to go. She's not processing things well and it's eating her up. Please get her to therapy. Therapy. Grief therapy. Also, maybe try and introduce her to groups for grieving people. This may help. You can go with her as her support just to hold her hands for a while before she's comfortable doing all these alone. So I am not a psychiatrist or something, so I do advise she seeks one. But my lifeline, when I feel like I slip back in a depression, lose control of life, is my hair. Weird, but let me explain. I've always loved dyeing my hair and such. Always want something else. So the last maybe 2 times I felt all was out of my control, I took my control back by changing up my hair. Feeling a sense of control helped me a lot. Maybe it can help her as well. Is she in therapy? Lost my mom 4 years ago and I'm still not okay. It will get better as time passes, whether you want to believe that or not. Give her some more time. One day, you will lose a parent too and you will want her support through that, nobody how long it takes. She needs to see a psychologist or other therapist to work through her grief. I want to mention something else that I personally find troubling. Grieving and all that mentioned by others here is absolutely true. However, she needs grief counseling, because while she seems to push everyone out of her life, it reads like she had become totally dependent on you being there and being there for her. Do you realize what that means for you, her and your relationship if this dependency becomes bigger and bigger? What if at one point it's too much for you? I would try to calmly tell her, while grief is valid and good, there are some concerning changes and she should consider seeing a therapist. First of all, you're a great man for sticking with her. I hope she remembers it 10 years from now that you were a rock she could lean on through the roughest of times. As for my advice, I'd suggest that she goes to therapy to get her feelings sorted out. Best of luck to you too. I'm 23, and I lost my mom in 2019 also. I remember the only thing I wanted was support and love, and it helped. No one ever moves on from losing a parent. You only heal from the pain you feel. Give her some time. I promise she will come out of this so strong and able to conquer anything if you stand by her side. By reading the comments I can tell that therapy probably isn't an option. Stay by her side. She probably needs someone the most right now but is unable to express it because of the sudden impact of losing a loved one. It's really traumatic to, of course she won't be her old self. Give her time, because time might heal her. Doing things you both enjoy to try to get her mind off of stuff is also a good idea. It's not as good as therapy but temporary distractions are always nice. Your Giftian needs help before she starts ruining her life. Grief is horrible, but 2 years in pain is not healthy. She's lucky to have you and that you care. She needs more time, but also maybe buy her a book or get her in therapy. My grandpa, who was more like a dad, suddenly passed in 2010 and I was 15. For years I didn't really do anything. I was very depressed and had an extremely hard time coping. Even now I still often cry from missing him and it's still very hard not having him here. It may seem like a long time has passed but in reality it hasn't. Being an Indian myself, I understand how you feel. Our country is horribly backwards in anything mental care related and most of the people, especially family, only want property and money. I am glad that she's someone like you in her life to care for her when she has no one else. It's not only the loss of her mother but probably the sudden change in behavior from her dad to her relatives that's causing her to feel low. Relatives were perfectly nice to your face but when it comes to things like money and property everything is forgotten. There is nothing you can do then to be there for her and reassure her that you are not going anywhere. Slowly she will come out from the hole she has fallen in. It won't happen overnight but it will definitely happen. My father died when I was in my early 20s, and it took a decade to get right again. I lost my early adulthood to grief, but I'm doing much better now. I don't have any advice to give, really, but I'd like to say that you can't really put a time limit on grief. It's wonderful that you're there to support her and help her. My husband was a big part of my recovery as well. You do what is right for you. 2 years is a short time in regards to grieving, but it's a long time to support someone in their grieving as well. What you want and need in life is important as well. My friend was also suffering from some mental issues. We are Indians. He booked an online appointment with Practo. He started feeling better after some time. Online consultations can be relatively cheap, even for students. Would be even better if you can physically take her to a doctor's place. Also check out MindPeers. I haven't used them, but it costs just 300 rupees from what I have heard. Please try convincing either your or her parents to fund her treatment. You seem like a great boyfriend. Waiting 2 whole years for her to heal takes patience. I was 26 when I lost my mom. She was the person I was closest with. I'm 43 now. My family says I've never been the same. You are wonderful and empathetic, but your girlfriend must get professional help. She needs to learn to cope with such a deep loss. Therapy, my dude. She needs professional help. Maybe take her on a trip. I know it's hard with COVID, but get her out of her surroundings she sees every day. Break the cycle of the same thoughts by forcing her environmental change. Routines becomes depression when heartache happens. I have been through this since my mother died when I was 17. It's really tough and hard to get over it. I have suffered from depression for a couple of years until I admit that I want therapy. Distracting myself won't help. Now I'm 20 and I'm over it. Try to make her visit therapist. If she refused, offer going with her. That will make her more comfortable. She lost her mom, then 2020 happened. It's been probably the worst couple of years in her life. If you can, maybe suggest she try grief counseling. Having someone to talk to who's trained to handle grief can be a huge help. She's deeply mourning, but she's not dead inside. Lost my mom early last year and my dad 8 years before. Grief doesn't have a 6-month expiration date. It comes and goes in waves. I'm still very young, and despite having lots of family, I feel very alone with every milestone I reach. Her mother passed, then the pandemic hit, and she's having all these issues with her other family. Obviously, those things are all going to impact her ability to move forward. The last year has not been normal for anyone, and you putting pressure on her, whether you are explicit about that or not, to get over her grief during the bizarro time period we are living in is not appropriate or kind. If what she's going through is too much for you to deal with, that's okay. Find an outlet or move on from the relationship. Calling her dead inside is cruel though, and if you can't be supportive, then you should break up with her. You've been with her for 6 years, but her relationship with her mom was for 21 years. She's realizing everything she accomplishes is going to be missed by her mom. She's not going to be at her wedding or see her grandchildren grow up. It's not going to go away, but it was gradually get a little easier over time. Have you thought about mentioning a grief counselor? It sounds like your girlfriend comes from a difficult past that worsened after her mother passed. Honestly, she would benefit from both your support and therapy. I understand that you are young and in India the cost is way too much, Latina speaking, but there is always an option for students. Most colleges have free therapist for stun days, so you don't have to tell your parents. Hope it helps. Okay. So this may not be feasible. I don't know. But, is it possible to get therapy from a different country? With online appointments everywhere nowadays, it seems like it could be an option. Not all therapy is impossibly expensive, right? I know I can book appointments online and they don't ask your citizenship when you fill out an intake form. Just a thought. Has she had grief counseling? She sounds like she needs it badly. Even if it's just someone to talk to, an extra hearing ear can help her find her way back to you and her friends. 2 years is nothing when you've had a traumatic loss like your girlfriend has. Especially at such a young age. When you lose someone as important as your mother, it changes you forever. But if your girlfriend is struggling, therapy would be such a good thing for her. Keep being patient and gentle with her. Keep giving her a place to express her grief. I would talk to her and just say you've seen a huge change in her, and she seems unhappy. I'd get her into therapy and possibly start medicine. I'd sit down together and create a plan for the future and try to focus on the good. I'd maybe practice meditation and make it part of your daily life to give thanks for the good stuff. Also, I lost a family member 4 months ago and still struggle, so a lot of this is normal. Not getting help though isn't the way to a good life. I lost my mom about a year ago. Close to your GFS age. I don't remember the next few months after her passing. It was a blur. My life, to an outsider, and to me, now, was off, and I'd do random things during those months. Go for long drives, go for walks, cry, visit her, look through old pictures, etc., etc. This is what allowed me to heal. Today, random things still remind me of her, sometimes making me cry. but it's easier, and I remember her fondly now. Your girlfriend needs to mourn. Please create the space and allow her to go through all her feelings. She'll come out all spent, but better. You can DM me if you'd like. Give her Maya time and please stay with her. You are definitely a pillar for her. At this point I would say she could do with some professional grief counseling, if at all possible. Grief isn't a one-time done deal. Opening square bracket. Tell her that her mother surely would wish that she got on with her life without her. That is what every parent wish for. I sure hope that my children would miss me, and be saddened by my departure, but it is the nature of life. More than anything, I wish them a happy life also after I am gone. I wish both of you well. Less than 3. Keep supporting her and encouraging little daily steps. The end goal will go out of the window. Maybe encourage counseling for her but don't push it. It will take time, and how close she was with her mum, the feeling to getting those goals a driving force to a degree has gone. You're doing great both of you. I have no advice, but damn, I really like you. Everyone should have a partner like you. Keep holding her every time she needs it, when she cries especially. Just be present. Don't pretend life is perfect. I suffered a huge loss, and without my husband holding everything together I don't know what I would have done. He never tries to fix my feelings, he's just there. Do you have pets? If you are not allergic and are in a good position to, I suggest getting a kitten. Mine made me start laughing again. And opened my heart. Best of luck to both of you. My ex-wife lost her father and nothing was ever the same. Her entire family changed. I would highly recommend therapy for her so she can process the feelings. In my case, my ex just bottled them up and made poor decisions later on that I was blamed for, and it killed our marriage. I'm sorry you're going through this. Therapy is a good idea. There are other reasons too, like her father has changed a lot since mom passed. She doesn't like the idea of father getting a second marriage because she always thought there was true love between her parents. He loved her till death separated them. You can't ask more love of people than that. If your relationship always worked out well for you, why would you not want another one? His loss and her loss are not the same. She still has you as a partner. 2 years is very long. Do set boundaries for your own sake, or get her to seek treatment if it is really so bad that you describe it as being dead inside. She's well past the at least 6 months required for diagnosing prolonged grief disorder. I've seen people suggest therapy. As a person who is still grieving and did therapy and survived this pandemic, the only thing left is time. I have had 3 therapists and it's been 2 years, so it's getting better finally. But there's still a lot of pain. It just takes time. I love how Reddit always suggests therapy. Not sarcasm, but honestly, there's only so much to unpack, learn and grow from therapy. Everything takes time. Have you ever noticed when you read these stories here? Either the option is have a conversation, set boundaries, and if things don't change, go to therapy, or break up, leave. That's how life is. Either you figure it out or you move on. You both are so young. You have a lot of growing to do. You'll figure it out. Good luck. Strongly recommend girlfriend gets therapy for the loss and grief she appears to be struggling with.